This video is about the sleep paralysis demon known as Mare. Usually in female form, she is also known as Mare, Natmara, nightmare, and the night hag. This is where the word nightmare comes from. Mare means incubus, a female evil spirit thought to lie upon and suffocate sleepers. This folklore legend was most likely conjured up to explain away the condition known as sleep paralysis, which is somewhat common, but unknown in the Middle Ages. What is sleep paralysis? While falling asleep or waking up, your brain sends signals that relax muscles in your arms and legs. The result, a muscle atonia, helps you remain still during rapid eye movement REM sleep. With sleep paralysis, you regain awareness but can't move. Most of the time, sleep paralysis only happens for a few seconds, but your brain is able to cause terrifying hallucinations in those few seconds. It can be extremely frightening for the sufferer of sleep paralysis. Or maybe science is wrong, and it really is the incubus known as Mare.
In most tales, the Mare is a female being. There are references to male ones too, which sometimes are referred to as Mare. There are almost no references to a female being the victim of an attack by a Mare, which could mean that most of these tales of old focus on the problems that concern males, and females appear in these stories only to help explain something regarding males. The Mare can be a human. If the Mare is in the shape of a human, it is either young and beautiful, or old and ugly. Some references describe her as having grotesque long arms, fingers, nails or breasts. For example, their breasts might be long enough to throw them around the neck of a horse. The Mare can be an animal. The Mare is also told to be an animal, and then often in the shape of something fluffy, but most often described as a cat or fox. Often it would be described as an animal with fur, but also a general focus on hair, fur and even strings or reoccurring aspects, while describing her. Mare can be a thing. There is also those that portray the Mare as a thing, for example, a grip, a ball of tangles or a feather. Some sources speak of the Mare as the soul leaving the body, or turning the body into smoke. Both are common descriptions. In one, the body will lie in place, almost dead like with no way of waking up. Some talk about the clothes as in the same position as if there were a body still inside them. Sending the soul outside of the body, leaving the body in a dormancy, is called sending the Hugin outside the physical body. There is also the term Hamanlop in the Old Mythologoi, which translates to soul jump. The Mare rides her victims during the night as both the victim and the household sleeps. Rides happening during the night could be a rest from both the old terms kveldriður and myrkriður. There are some tales about how she has to use the victim's shoes or clothes to gain access to them or the bed. These stories lead to a common protective gesture to turn the shoes around or to put clothes inside out. It's not only humans that can get a visit from a Mare, but also animals can. The most exposed to these attacks is the horse. In most tales, the Mare is a female being. There are references to male ones too, which sometimes are referred to as Mare. There are almost no references to a female being the victim of an attack by a Mare, which could mean that most of these tales of old focus on the problems that concern males, and females appear in these stories only to help explain something regarding males. Going after the horse could be another reference to the attacks against men, if going with the belief that she attacks almost exclusively men. The horse wasn't just any tool, but a sign of the owner's manhood. An attack against the horse was a direct attack against the male owner. A horse being ridden by a Mare during the night will be found tired and sweaty the next morning, even if they've stayed inside the stall. Sometimes they will have their mane tangled, often called marflata, mare braid. There are tangles in their manes that it's almost impossible to comb it out again. Some Mares are unaware that they are a Mare. Some women might feel tired and ill, and believe they've been sleepwalking, while in reality they've been out attacking someone as a Mare. There is even a reference to a farmer, or in some retellings a farm worker, that has trouble with a Mare riding one of the horses during the night. To stop her, he places a scythe on the wall next to the horse. In the morning she will have been attacked and died, leaving the one being cursed dead next to the horse. In the story, the one trying to stop the Mare turns out to be the one that dies. One way for a female to become a Mare is for her mother to use svartkonst or black magic to try and ease the labor pains. She would crawl through the amniotic sac from a foal. In some sources, the mother is to take it over her head 3 times instead. Other sources say it should be the actual skin from a newly slaughtered foal, and the pregnant mother should walk through it 3 times. By doing this svartkonst, The actions of the mother will curse the child. It's a sin to change the order of nature, meaning someone will be punished. In these cases, it falls on the child to bear the curse. Some sources say that this is the case when a Mara can ride horses and not only males. One way to become a Mara is to be cursed by someone else, which forces the Mara to go out at night and ride others. Being cursed means that there is a third party somewhere, often a hag or troll of some kind, that has enchanted the unfortunate to go Mara, night after night. There is also the stories where hags or witches can voluntarily transform themselves into the Mara. Sometimes a Mara can be an evil or malicious human sending their spirit out into the night to cause pain, anguish, and even death to others. The Mara would in these cases be a kind of manifestation of the person's spirit, thoughts, or evil wishes. Jealousy or sexual motives might be what drives her. Some say that the Mara is the spirit of unmarried women, dead or alive, that in vain are searching for love and closeness. Others say it's a manifestation from an old maid's unsatisfactory erotic needs. It could also be the result of some unrequited love. Having a female in an active sexual role, it will be another attack on the man's manliness. The man is powerless against the female taking control, leaving him passive. Some of the less common beliefs concerning the Mara are a cat jumping an unbaptized child. One uncommon way to become a Mara is if a cat jumps over the child that hasn't been baptized, then that child will become a Mara. The spirit of a dead human. When looking at the Mara as the spirit of unmarried women, and especially a dead one, they are said in some stories to be searching for the heat and closeness of the living. A female child born out of time, which is between midnight and 1 a.m., will become a Mara. Attacks by the Mara can bring some variation among the sources, some common, and a few only mentioned scattered throughout the tales of the Mara. Most are attacks on the men, either themselves or their horses. In the concept of the Mara as riding a human, there is mentions of some different powers, to achieve different effects. To be able to attack a sleeping man, the Mara will have to first get inside the bedroom. She can do this as long as there is the smallest opening, keyholes, the slit between the door and frame, etc. It doesn't matter how well the door is locked. If there is the tiniest opening, the Mara can find it and enter. When the soul, the phylja, is outside the body, it is often described as an animal, thing, or wind. Even invisible, it still takes up space in the room. The Mara has been compared to wind, or a fog, rather than an object, to be able to enter through any available hole, no matter how small. The Mara becomes a black smoke as she turns from human to Mara, and it is then this smoke that will fly through any opening she can find. Some say that as she turns into the Mara, the body leaves the clothes behind, and as she returns, she rematerializes inside the clothes. The aspect of riding comes from the pressure most victims feels across their chest as if something is sitting there. This action can result in both a feeling of being paralyzed, but also of being smothered. It can also connect to the erotic aspect, where the Mara is searching for love and comfort and hugs the victim, or places herself above their heart. Some sources say that the Mara rides her victims to death, man and animal alike. Some talk about repeated visits from the Mara, leading to believe that she doesn't always kill her victim on the first night. During an attack of the sleeping human, the Mara can bring forth nightmares. The dreams can be based on thoughts or memories, increasing the victim's anxiety. After the attack, the victim might feel weak and an increase in anxiety. It may come from the remembrance of a nightmare, or from the pressure on the chest leading to anxiety about dying. It could also mean that the man gets anxiety from not being the one in control while being visited by a Mara. In the same way that the Mara uses powers while riding humans, others are more commonly used while attacking animals, and there it is mostly the horse that is the victim. An animal that has been ridden by the Mara during the night will stand in the morning sweaty and with a low amount of energy left. There is also a few things that don't get mentioned as much that might happen because of the Mara. There are very few reports about the kiss of Mara, but if you woke up with blisters or marks around your mouth, the Mara kissed you during the night, you had got a marcus. The word marcus is an old term for oral herpes. The thought was that these appeared after a night visit from the Mara, or that you had received a kiss from her in some way. Not only animals can fall victim to the tangles from the Mara, even trees can get them, but those are more commonly known as markvast, mar broom, or even haxkavast, which is broom. If she attacks a tree, the tree will stop rising or gain a dense mass of shoots growing from a single point, making a section look like the end of a broom, or a bird's nest. This nest can be believed to be where she lives if it's assumed to be its own being and not the soul or transformation of a human. There are ways to get rid of the Mara, some by hurting her, some by directing her elsewhere. She will then leave the intended victim alone. Or one can try to break the curse, making her a Mara from the start. Another common thing is to trap her so that she cannot return to the place she came from before turning. One way to kill the Mara is by hanging a scythe on the wall in the stables. Doing so will cause trouble if the one that's been cursed to become a Mara is also the one that tries to protect the horses, since he will then end up dead by morning. Another thing that is repeatedly seen in tales is that if you hurt the Mara, you also injure the human behind her. This is regardless of the curse forces the victim to transform into a Mara, or if it is to send their soul out of their body. There are tales of how farmers attack strange things in the stables. The next day someone in the neighborhood wakes up injured. If going with the soul theory, the human will die in the spot the body is at the time the Mara dies. There is also tales of the body dying the same way that the Mara does. For example, if the Mara is a feather, and someone throws it into the fire, then the body will burn up where it lies as the soul burns. If going by the transformation version, then the body will be found in human form by morning, in the spot that the Mara died. There is a way to trap the Mara where you have to plug the hole the Mara entered through, and she will be stuck. The fact that you can catch her leads to the idea of her being on a string rather than like wind or fog, as discussed in a previous section. She might have something connecting her spirit to her body, for example. This means that she will have to figure out or find the exact way she got in. The entrance that the man blocked to catch her before she can return. The thing that is most common to do after trapping the Mara is to marry her. Because having her stay in the room the whole night, she will then be forced into a human shape, or return to her human form, depending on the assumption of how the Mara came to be. But the Mara will return to where she came from the moment she finds out how to do so, meaning that if the husband tells her where it is, she will disappear. What isn't said in these tales is what happens the following nights, if she still turns into a Mara but can't leave the room, or if she from that moment stays human. There are multiple ways to divert the attention of the Mara from the intended victim, making him sleep the night through in peace, regardless if it's a human or a horse. One of those things is to play on the compulsive thoughts of the Mara, where she has to count all things. So spreading flaxseed, cohere, salt, sand, or something similar, the Mara will have to count them before attacking. Just make sure it is enough for her to occupy herself with for the whole night, or the length of time until she returns to her body. Another way is to put up hair from the victim or the horse mane somewhere close by, and the Mara will travel to it to create martyr there instead of attacking the intended victim. It's also possible to place clothes and shoes in certain ways to make it so that the Mara cannot get in. There are tales about how to turn your shoes. For example, place them with their toes pointing outwards from the bed, so that the Mara cannot climb in your footsteps onto the bed, and can therefore not reach the man lying there. Using the markvast is another trick that is mentioned in multiple places. Hanging a markvast or parts of a tree that once contained a markvast can both help, according to different sources. Few say that the Mara shuns the markvast, while others instead say that she will attack the markvast instead of the intended human or animal, that the broom attracts her. The markvast attracts her because it is a place of home for her, and that after capturing her you can throw her out or burn her up to get rid of her. The typical way to break the curse of being Mara is to tell her that she is one. Some say it has to be a male informing her, some say it has to be the moment she returns from her adventures. But there is also an addition when telling the Mara once she returns. If you tell her too quickly, then all of her might not have transformed back into a human, and the human will lose some part of her body permanently. But she will no longer be a Mara.
We hope that you have enjoyed your visit to the Raven Woods. Until next time.